Everybody in? Good, 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 good. Whew. Let's get into this. Boom, 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 boom. Let me just get my guys the gapper list. What's going on in the hood? Alright, cool. Yeah, there's not much going except pot stocks today, it looks like. So we'll have to be kind of mindful of what's going on in the hood. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Brian, how you doing? All right. All day. Don't forget who gave you a wake-up call this morning. That's the kind of coach I am. Giving people wake-up calls. All right. So, only a few gappers today. It looks like the main action is in pot stocks. Hey, Mr. Wobrowski, how you doing? Robin, how you doing? TJ, what's going on? So far, the market does look okay. We're sitting on that 50 SMA, which we've been doing for quite a while, right? 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests. And so that's going to be just, that's a huge thing right now. It's going to be, oh, found it. Hold on. That's going to be a huge thing is right now the market is actually acting pretty hot. So we want to kind of stay with it. You can see right now with the SPY too. Woo! Right, we're right at that breakout spot. So what you want to see, obviously, if you're day trading or short-term trading with swings, right, you want to see those pushes in the market. You want to see that uptrending and supports hold. We've got a really clean pullback to your MAs, then a pop to highs. That was only a second test. So now you're coming into the third test. We're getting a slightly weak open in the market, which is good, right? We don't want that market to gap up too high because it takes out the range in the market. So right now, things are looking pretty good. We'll have a weak open, which means we can go red to green on some of the names. It looks like right now the flavor is still the pot stocks. And I'm staying away from this one today because at this point it's just completely outside its upper Bollinger Band. So, you know, at a $71 gap, let's say you blow like 100 shares of this thing and the bottom drops out, you know, your stop loss may not even hold. So the one thing to remember, even with stop losses, unless you're doing a stop market will sell you at market. But if the bottom drops off, say it drops like 10 bucks in one candle, you'll lose like 4 or 5 bucks on just the market order. If you do a stop limit, then what's going to happen is your limit may not hold. And so probably today I'll stay away from this one. But the other ones are looking zesty. This Cron's looking like it wants to break out today. Its old high is 1339. So watch that mark, 1339. Cron's a sloppy little slop tart though, right? It's a sloppy little slop tart. You know, its range is not that tight, but the old high is about 1348. You start to see that thing bust loose at the open, and then the trend starts to hold, then you can start to participate, right? Watch for an ORB or a quick pullback buy. My guess is the gap on on TRY fades back a little bit. That's just an educated guess. If that happens, there's going to be either two things happen. The rest of the pot stocks will dump, or what could happen, which I've seen before, is the money that gets sold into TLRY gets poured into CGC or some of the other names, which I've seen a couple times too. So those are the two kind of options that you've got to look for. But make sure when you're trading these, you want to see, if you see a gap up like this, you want to see really tight patterns and really tight consolidation. Because if you don't, then you know, you're going to really put yourself at way too much risk. So just kind of keep an eye on that stuff. And you can see CGC is doing the same thing. You know, we had a good day trading this yesterday. Not crazy, I think it was like 700 bucks. I gave back like 500 on it. But, you know, you can see right here, like, we remounted the 9 EMA, which is also really powerful. Now we're kind of busting out of this range here. So its old high is 56. We should be on the attack on that. But once again, we have our radar up that the bottom could fall out on these at any second. So risk management's the key. Don't be a bag holder, right? This ain't crypto. You can't hodl stuff. We're day traders. So just be mindful of that stuff. Not really anything hot that I saw out of the rest of the gapper list. you know, there are, on the downside, there's a couple. I keep the CPRT on the list. The one issue with this is the SSR is going to be on. As you know, if the SSR is on, you can't short it. So, like, if it pops down and you start to see that ORB, you know, you've got to be careful. If you short it too low, it can grind back. So, what we need to see is more of a setup like this. This is like your favorite kind of setup. If you get a big gap down and the SSR triggers, what you want to see is this gap down and then a pop into that 9 EMA and then a red candle to hold, and then you can take it for a day trade down. Remember that you don't always have to chase it low. It's easier to short when you get a gap down play that's big. It's easier to short into the 9 EMA, but you just want a little bit of confirmation so you get that red candle to hold, and then you can take this thing back down to the downside. So that's going to be just a important thing when you get something like a CPRT. Watch this GTHX today. I got this on the list too. This thing's getting shredded pre-market. If it breaks below this level right here, you've got room down to 39. So that's going to be something to kind of keep eye on. Hey, Frosty, what's up, baby? Yeah, we can watch MU. It's not on my personal list. I think its earnings are after hours. So to me, this is kind of just a misnomer. Right now, there's so much heat in the market. MU moves okay, but it's not really that hot heat, right, in terms of what we're trying to do. So I usually leave this one alone. It just moves a little bit thick, right? That 1 billion share float. Man, that thing really moves a little slow. On the other side of things, there are a couple just offshoot marijuana plays that you can keep on your list. This IGC, it finally came out of its consolidation, 10 million shares in volume. It moved to $1.40. This one, it may have some potential in here. If everything else starts to run, then keep an eye on this IGC. It is a huge turd, as you know. Most dollar stocks are, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Same thing with this CVSI. This is another one that's kind of an offshoot that you can put on your list. It has good liquidity, 5.9 million shares volume. It trended pretty well yesterday, so you can definitely keep this one on the list. I like when these things do that, where they pop up, they take out their opening range, then they come back midday and test that VWAP. To me, that's a healthy stock. When you want to think about like what's a healthy stock or what's a healthy trend, when I see like midday deep pullbacks and then you test the VWAP and you ramp back up to highs, those are stocks that are trending well. They're reacting to your indicators and the things that we like to do. What's up, Aaron? How you doing? So that's going to be just something that's just really important. Make sure to kind of keep an eye on those. I got this Funko on the list. I tried to take the trade yesterday, but I fucking chased it like an asshole, and it came back down. I lost $500 on it, but you can see this oversold bounce, right? This thing goes from $10 to $30, pulled back to 18. Man, it worked like just a T too, right? Right down to that lower Bollinger Band. Guys, these indicators will work if you just use them in conjunction with the right stuff, right? So tap right in that lower Bollinger Band. You got oversold stochastics, and you remounted that 50 SMA, which is huge. We are seeing this a lot in momentum stocks, where if you get a big momentum stock and you pull back sharply to that 50 SMA, they do hold. You kind of saw that with TNDM yesterday, right? This thing was like $2, ran to 50, had this huge sharp pullback right down to 35, right? Came right down to that 50 SMA in that lower Bollinger Band. And so those are good spots to really get bounce points at, right? When you're thinking about bounces are tough in markets. So you want to use a conjunction of different things to get confirmation that a bounce is real. One of them is moving averages. The other one is Bollinger Bands. Of course, if you get a green candle to hold, then that gives you the confirmation. And then, of course, you can use smaller term time frames to really kind of get into this stuff. Add Roku to the list too. We were talking about this thing yesterday, right? This thing came hot out of the gate. The one thing with Roku's, man, when it goes, it goes. Like, it didn't even give you a shot to get in unless you were hitting this thing on the red to green. I mean, it was wicked, but this is a flag break. The reason it pulled back so sharply right up here, it just tapped right in that top of the Bollinger Band. these are always good sell spots and potential bounce spots, right? So it just kind of tapped right into this thing and, you know, came right back down. So that's the nature of the game when you're coming out of flags. The Bollinger Bands are a little bit tight and they need to loosen up. So just something to go. But I'm ignoring TLRY today. It may short squeeze. It may not. It's opening up 74 bucks, guys. Could I get lucky and trade this at the open and make a couple bucks? Yeah, I probably could. But remember, I trade really fast and I'm nimble. You know, there's no fear in this stuff, right? I've been doing this my whole life. If you're brand new and you pause or you hesitate even for a second on something like this, boom, $10, it's going to drop. And next thing you know, like you're just out for the count, right? And so my preference, if you want to play weed stocks, is to, you know, look for CGC and Cron today because they're less extended. They have more liquidity. Like CGC doesn't have very much spread even, so that's actually really good, right? Spreads kill when you're thinking about trading. The spread on TLRY will be $2, $3 today probably. So that's where, you know, you've got to be really mindful. Imagine you got 200 shares and the spread's $3. That's a $600, you know, leeway right there. It fucks with your head a little bit. And so that's where things get a little bit dicey. So just be mindful of that. And there's all sorts of other little pop plays you can play if they hold up today, right? We don't know, right? TLRY could just run back down and take the whole market out. So make sure that, you know, you guys have some other stocks to play too. So we want to see potentially this QTT for a bounce. It's still holding this 9 spot. You can see right here, right? Test, 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 test. All we need to see is this thing start to curl up and make some higher highs and higher lows. I think this one's got some potential. You know, same thing with the PDD. It's, you know, it's opening a little bit weak here, but it's definitely due for a bounce. Now, you've come from 30 to 20, so, you know, you gave back 20% or so. That's going to be really important on this thing. I think it's due for a bounce here because there's a couple levels of support. But frankly, I thought it yesterday too. So that's going to be something to kind of keep an eye on. Yep, NBEV is another one that people are talking about. There's a lot of heat in this one. It's gapping up to 340 today. So you got to be careful on this one because it's already kind of doubled in a couple days. So just be mindful that it's starting to get towards kind of some resistance spots. So you definitely don't want to be kind of chasing these things. Just something to be really mindful of. Guys, be safe today. Today, I got a weird feeling about some of this stuff. They may run, they may fade. Risk management is everything today. That's just going to be a huge thing. And guys, I have a webinar tonight on trading these. I'm going to put the link in for you guys. Come to the webinar. It's a 2-day webinar, so you guys will have a lot of fun with it because for the next couple days, we're going to be talking about trading patterns, both on a swing trading basis, but also a day trading basis, so you can learn strategies for both. And as you know, I always put on one hell of a show, and so we're going to have a little bit of fun. Guys, if you guys are liking the videos or you're liking what we do, give me a thumbs up on the YouTube. It helps spread it out through the community. 'Cause I love doing these things for you, doing the free webinars and all that stuff. But let's get our community going. And don't fuck around today, guys. Today's a risky day, right? So don't go in for the Hail Mary today on this stuff. It's easy to get FOMO and think like, man, I need to get in this. But man, we had our chances to get into this. You know what I mean? Those chances are over. The easy money is over. As they say in trading, right? You never want to be the last man to the gangbang, right? Been there, done that. It's not that cool. All right, people? Let's go make some money all day. You know how it goes. Let's go do what we do.